How many mood boards does a single client project demand? And how many hours do you spend creating them? The truth is, across the interior design and architecture world, concept development still consumes days of creative work before a single client meeting takes place. AI image generation tools are everywhere in the conversation right now. Midjourney, Stable Diffusion. You've heard the names, but when it comes to actually integrating them into a real project workflow, most designers hit the same wall. Where do you even begin? Today, we cut through the noise. We're going to compare both tools through the lens of a working interior designer and architect, so you can make a clear, confident decision about which one deserves a place in your practice. Before comparing quality or cost, we need to understand what these two tools actually are at their core, because they operate on completely different philosophies. Midjourney is a cloud-based subscription service. You type a text prompt into a Discord channel, and within 30 seconds you have a high-quality image returned to you. No hardware required. No technical setup. No installation. The barrier to entry is remarkably low. Stable Diffusion, on the other hand, is open source. You install it locally on your own machine, typically through a web interface like Automatic 1111, or run it via cloud instances. The degree of customization is extraordinary, but it demands a deeper technical understanding to unlock that potential. Think of it this way. Midjourney is a well-appointed restaurant where a skilled chef handles everything for you. Stable Diffusion is your own professional kitchen. You can cook anything you want, exactly the way you want it, but you need to know your way around the equipment. The real question is never which one is better in the abstract. It's knowing which kitchen to step into at each stage of your project. Now let's talk about what matters most to a practicing designer, the quality of the output. Specifically, is it good enough to put in front of a paying client? With Midjourney V6, the answer for mood-driven imagery is a clear yes. Scandinavian minimalist living rooms, modern kitchen concepts, boutique hotel lobby atmospheres. The results are consistently portfolio grade. The lighting expression, material textures, and sense of spatial depth are genuinely impressive from just a few lines of text prompt. But here is where Stable Diffusion changes the game entirely. When you add a plugin called ControlNet, you can upload an existing floor plan or architectural sketch, lock the spatial structure firmly in place, and then freely swap interior styles, finishes, and material palettes on top of it. This is a fundamentally different capability. Without altering a single wall or structural element, you can instantly simulate a dozen different finish combinations and mood directions in sequence. When a client says, "Let's go Scandinavian," actually, make it vintage instead, you no longer have to panic or start over. You show them both options in minutes, side by side. Now let's get practical. Here is the 4-stage workflow that practicing designers have validated on real projects. Step 1 is concept discovery. Before your first client meeting, use Midjourney to visualize at least 3 distinct mood directions in under 30 minutes. You only need a handful of keywords. The AI handles the visual translation. Step 2 is structure lock-in. Once you have an approved floor plan or CAD drawing, feed it into Stable Diffusion's ControlNet extension. This fixes your spatial structure and lets you iterate freely on finishes and styles without ever altering the underlying layout. Material swaps become a matter of clicks, not hours of redrawing. Step 3 is client presentation. Use Midjourney V6 to generate your final high-resolution presentation imagery. Align the lighting conditions and furniture placement as closely as possible to your actual design intent, so clients can clearly bridge the AI renders to the real proposal in front of them. Step 4 is construction integration. Use the generated visuals as a reference base to reverse engineer your finish and material specifications, or feed them into your BIM environment as preliminary planning inputs. This connection is becoming increasingly seamless. BIM platforms are already moving toward native AI integration, and Gartner projects that AI design assistance tools will reach industry-standard adoption globally by 2027. Firms that build this 4-step habit now are positioning themselves well ahead of that curve. Approximately 63% of architecture and interior design firms in the United States already incorporate AI regularly into their workflows, with firms in the United Kingdom at approximately 57%. The infrastructure for this process exists. The workflow is yours to design. Let's talk about what the promotional content never covers. Honestly, the actual costs and the genuine limitations you will encounter. Midjourney's Pro plan runs $30 per month, which includes unlimited image generation. For a firm with multiple designers sharing a single subscription, the per-person cost drops considerably. However, there is a critical issue that cannot be overlooked. The copyright and commercial ownership status of AI-generated images remains legally ambiguous across most international jurisdictions. Before using any AI-generated visuals in commercial client projects, you must carefully review the platform's current terms of service. This is not optional. Stable Diffusion, as open-source software, carries no software licensing cost, but running it locally requires a capable dedicated GPU. At minimum, an NVIDIA RTX 3080. If you prefer to skip the hardware investment, cloud-based services like Run Diffusion offer pay-as-you-go access at roughly $45 per month for typical professional usage patterns. And both tools share the same fundamental limitations. Hands and fingers are still rendered awkwardly. Highly specific furniture dimensions and precise construction details cannot be reliably reproduced. Every image these AI systems generate is a direction indicator, not a finished specification. AI-generated imagery is a powerful tool for communication and design exploration. It is not, and should not be treated as, a substitute for the technical documentation your projects require. So what is the actual conclusion? Use both tools, but divide their roles with clear intention. Midjourney owns early-stage concept work and client communication, fast, expressive, emotionally resonant. Stable Diffusion owns precision-driven style simulation when you have a fixed spatial structure to work from, technically rigorous, deeply controllable. Leading interior design firms around the world are already moving in this direction, running both tools in parallel as complementary instruments within the same project workflow. But here is the deeper insight that most people miss. The tool is not the strategy. The workflow is the strategy. Before you adopt any AI tool, there is a more important question to answer. At which exact point in your design process does AI create the most leverage for you? Firms that have answered that question deliberately and integrated AI at those precise leverage points are reporting concept development timelines approximately 40% shorter than before. And that is not simply about working faster. It means presenting more creative alternatives to clients, exploring more design directions within the same time and budget, and ultimately competing more effectively for the projects that matter. That is what meaningful AI adoption actually looks like in practice. I will not replace designers, but designers who use AI will outpace those who don't, and that gap is widening with every passing year. Midjourney's expressive visual power and Stable Diffusion's structural precision are not competing capabilities, they are complementary ones. The designers who learn to weave both into their natural workflow rhythm, applying each where it creates the most value, will define the next generation of interior design practice worldwide. If today's breakdown has been useful, our next video goes even deeper. A dedicated interior design prompt guide, the exact prompts, parameters, and workflows that generate production-ready visuals for real client projects. Before we get there, we want to hear from you.